Winter's making a serious comeback, folks. We're about to see snow spreading across a massive chunk of the United States. Over the coming week, several Alberta clippers are going to sweep through, dumping snow on a huge swath of the country, including spots that haven't seen a single flake yet this season. Pretty wild when you think about it. What's driving all this? Two separate Arctic blasts. The first wave of frigid air will pave the way for snow stretching from the Midwest clear down to the Tennessee Valley and chunks of the Mid-Atlantic. We're talking winter weather pushing way farther south and east than usual. The snow coverage will be extensive, though we're looking at a few inches in most spots, nothing too crazy. But here's where it gets interesting. Once that storm passes, lake effect snow is going to absolutely hammer the Great Lakes region. When that icy air settles over the lakes, we'll see intense snow bands forming that could drop over a foot in certain areas. Talk about a wallop. But wait, there's more. I feel like an infomercial. The winter chaos doesn't stop there. A second Arctic blast with even colder air rolls in this weekend. This could bring snow as far south as Georgia and Alabama, especially where that polar air meets up with Gulf moisture. It's like a perfect storm recipe. There's honestly a ton happening with this weather pattern, so let me break down what you really need to know about all the action unfolding across the country over the next week. The big story: temperature roller coaster. Let's kick things off with the headline story, the wild temperature swings we're about to experience. And get this, we're not dealing with just one Arctic blast. We've got two lined up to pummel the United States. The first one actually touches down today, already building strength across the Great Lakes, Midwest, and Ohio Valley. Tonight, it's spreading all the way down to the Gulf Coast. In fact, freeze watches are already posted for much of central and northern Florida right now. Yeah, you read that right, Florida. That's how significant this Arctic punch is going to be. Freezing temps are going to plunge deep into the southeast tonight and tomorrow. Then on Thursday and Friday, that Arctic air sweeps the entire eastern seaboard. We might even see some snow on the backside of this system in places like eastern Virginia, maybe even North Carolina. Snow's creeping further south than usual. But the really fascinating part? This weekend brings an even more intense shot of Arctic air arriving on Saturday. That one's going to fill in across the Great Plains. Really, everywhere except central and southern Texas gets hit. The Midwest and Ohio Valley are in for some seriously cold air. Now, why is this particularly interesting? Not just because it'll be cold, duh, but because down in the southeast, we might get a bit of moisture. Once that cold air arrives, we could see light snowfall in places like Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas. Heck, I wouldn't even rule out extreme northern Florida getting in on the action this weekend into early next week. This is definitely shaping up to be a fascinating pattern over the next few days, so stay tuned. We need to watch this closely. Sunday and Monday, that Arctic air spills across the Ohio Valley. The entire East Coast will be wrapped in cold air. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, another shot of Arctic air comes barreling through right behind it. So basically, we're dealing with three separate Arctic blasts over the next 6 days or so. This third one arrives late Monday through Tuesday, draping the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast in more frigid air. Looking further ahead into late January, we'll likely keep seeing these cold air surges along the East Coast. The general weather pattern for the next month or so suggests we should continue seeing favorable conditions for troughing across this part of the country, meaning we should expect a higher frequency of Arctic blasts at least through mid-February. Just a heads up if you've got any plans heading into early or mid-February. It's probably going to stay chillier than average for many of these areas. Temperature breakdown. Here's what the temps look like over the next week. Starting tomorrow morning, freezing temperatures reach all the way down into Alabama, Mississippi, and even Louisiana. Friday morning, that cold air extends all the way into Florida, hence those freeze watches across most of central and northern Florida. Temps will hit near or just barely below freezing around Orlando and back through Cape Canaveral. By Saturday and Sunday, That newly recharged Arctic air spills into the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Got plans to catch the Bears-Rams game on Sunday? Bundle up. We're talking temps barely in the teens, with wind chills dropping below zero for nearly the entire game. Brutal stuff. Also, check this out. You can actually spot the cold front super clearly. Sunday afternoon in Jacksonville, it'll only be 48 degrees, but Orlando will still be sitting at 70 degrees. That's your cold front right there, plain as day. By Monday morning, we've got another potential freeze situation brewing in central and northern Florida. If we don't see freezing temps over the next couple days, Friday morning, it's definitely looking likely for Monday morning. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, this cold air just keeps hanging around across the Midwest down into the southeast. This sets up the possibility that if we get any moisture from the Gulf or any low-pressure systems passing through, we could see at least some light snow showers as far south as central southern Alabama or even Georgia. I'm not ruling it out. I know it might sound a bit wild, but it's totally possible with this weather pattern. Eventually, by the end of next week, things start warming back up in the deep south and across the southern plains. Wind chills. Yikes. Want to talk about miserable? Check out these wind chills for tomorrow morning. Many areas, including Ohio, will be right around or just below 0 degrees for your feel-like temps when you wake up. And this cold air gets way worse on Saturday and Sunday. Look at this. Sunday, we're talking wind chills around 20 to 25 degrees below zero in Minnesota. Minneapolis hits about 13 degrees below zero. The freezing temperature line, in terms of wind chills, extends all the way down to the Gulf Coast on Sunday too. Then Monday and Tuesday bring another shot of Arctic air for the Midwest and Great Lakes, keeping things brutally cold for an extended stretch. It's honestly kind of nuts that we're getting back-to-back Arctic blasts here in the Midwest. Despite there not being a ton of snow chances with big winter storms, there will be some light snow, and it's just going to be cold, cloudy, and windy for a lot of these days. Not exactly ideal conditions if you've got outdoor plans. Multiple rounds of snow. Now let's dive into the snow heading for the United States over the next 7 days, starting with what's happening today. We've got a pretty broad area of low pressure bringing light snow showers to parts of the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes today, continuing at least through tonight. Then, as we move into the overnight hours, really intense lake effect snow kicks into gear in western Michigan and northern Indiana. We're talking upwards of 12 to 16 inches of snow, potentially falling over just the next 36 hours, especially west of Fort Wayne near Michigan City. We'll also have some light to moderate snow falling from New York back into the Appalachian Mountains, including areas near Johnson City, Tennessee. Just east of there in the higher elevations, we'll see some snowfall. Also, if you're in far northern Georgia up in those higher elevations, there's a possibility of some light snow accumulating tonight. Maybe up to a tenth, possibly a fifth of an inch. Thursday and Friday, snow continues across the northeast, staying very light. We'll see more snow on Friday across the Great Lakes, and it's going to be a large, broad area. These will be snow showers, and a lot of this won't accumulate to much. Where you do see accumulation, maybe 1 to 2 inches in some spots. The most intense burst of snow from this event will probably be Thursday night, mainly over in Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois, where we could get snow squalls that reduce visibility if you're traveling on the roads. Friday night and early Saturday morning, snow continues across the Ohio Valley and Northeast. Again, almost all of this stays light. One really interesting trend I'm noticing right now on the GFS model and some others is they're hinting we might have enough moisture with this next Arctic blast to possibly produce some snow showers into the southeast. It starts as early as Saturday, showing maybe just enough for light snow in parts of Arkansas. Very isolated though. Sunday would be the day to watch. Right now, the GFS model is showing an offshore low-pressure system trying to form, and it also has all that cold air sinking southward. They kind of collide and put snow on the table from Georgia all the way through New Jersey. This is still a very early scenario, though. We're talking about something 4 to 5 days out, so things could definitely shift. But the last several model runs, at least with the GFS, have kept tracking this further and further west. Which means if our low-pressure system gets closer to the United States, snow becomes a real possibility. Again, no need to cancel plans or get overly excited yet, but definitely something worth keeping an eye on. We'll probably have another video tomorrow or Friday updating you if there's still something brewing there. Anything beyond Sunday gets a lot more uncertain. The GFS model shows by around Tuesday morning there's still enough moisture in place right along that sharp temperature contrast near the Gulf Coast, indicating a possibility of snow showers once again across areas from Texas all the way back into Alabama and Mississippi. So again, something we definitely can't rule out right now, especially with all these reinforced waves of Arctic air we're expecting. We're not just expecting 2 Arctic blasts anymore. We basically have a possibility of 3 over the next 6 to 7 days. Definitely something we'll need to monitor closely, and if snow chances increase in the southeast, we'll be the first to let you know. Snow accumulation forecast. In terms of total snowfall accumulation, we're not really looking at huge numbers for most places, but a lot of spots will at least see some snow showers over the next few days. The most significant snow will hit the Appalachian Mountains, upstate New York, and far western Pennsylvania. Back over in western Michigan, that's where significant lake effect snow is setting up for today and early tomorrow. We'll likely pick up around 6 to 12 inches, with some isolated locations seeing 18 to 20 inches of snow, especially near Michigan City and Indiana. As we head into early next week, uncertainty grows. The latest model is showing some very rare snowfall in the southeast, but this could definitely change. It's going to come down to what happens within about 4 days of this event, so let's at least wait until tomorrow. If the models keep showing something like this, then we can take it more seriously. But for right now, let's just tuck it away in the back of our minds. Don't get too excited yet if you're down in the southeast hoping for snow. This could definitely shift over the next few days. Here's something really fascinating. The probability of seeing over an inch of snow between now and January 21st, basically the next 7 days. We've got areas like South Carolina, even southeastern Georgia, sitting at around a 30% chance of seeing accumulating snowfall. And it's all from that potential event on Sunday. The odds are climbing. I'd give it at least a 20 to 30% chance right now. We'll see how things develop, but at least for now, there are some promising signs that snow is on the table in the southeast. The polar vortex is making a comeback to North America, and what this means for the central and eastern U.S. over the next couple weeks could completely change how we view this winter season. After experiencing one of the top 5 warmest winters on record across the western states, Mother Nature is gearing up to deliver a harsh reminder that January still means business. Cold air, multiple storm systems, and real snow opportunities are all coming into play as we move through the second half of the month. Let me sketch out where things stand right now, because the difference is absolutely mind-blowing. This afternoon, temperatures across much of the lower 48 were running way above normal. The West has been enjoying extraordinary warmth. Parts of the Dakotas and Montana are sitting 40 degrees higher than they should be for mid-January. Wild stuff. That warmth stretches into southwest Canada, where snow has actually been melting in British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. Meanwhile, Alaska is locked in a brutal deep freeze, with wind chills dropping to 40, 50, even 60 degrees below zero across the northern parts of the state. Absolutely brutal. Here's the key meteorological concept you need to grasp. When Alaska runs this cold, it usually means the lower 48 is basically borrowing warmth that'll eventually have to be returned. What goes up must come down, right? That insanely cold air currently camped out over Alaska will be heading toward the central and eastern United States over the coming days, and the atmospheric pattern supports it arriving with some serious punch. The polar vortex takes center stage. The engine powering this shift is the tropospheric polar vortex, and it's setting up camp over Hudson Bay and eastern Canada. This positioning creates the perfect launching pad for repeated Arctic invasions into the United States. Once that vortex locks into place over Hudson Bay, it won't take much effort to funnel frigid air southward into the Northeast, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and beyond. The pattern suggests this setup sticking around through at least the end of January. Let's walk through what's coming, because there's a ton happening over the next 2 weeks. Tonight and into Tuesday morning, a clipper system enters the scene across the upper Midwest. The arrowhead of Minnesota gets hit with a wintry mix of heavy wet snow, sleet, and freezing drizzle before sunrise. By Tuesday morning, that system moves into the upper peninsula of Michigan, bringing slippery travel conditions to the Marquette area. Visibility could plummet below a quarter mile in some spots, making the morning commute seriously treacherous. This clipper continues into Ontario and southwestern Quebec through Tuesday afternoon, dropping several inches of accumulating snow across those Canadian provinces. Meanwhile, lake effect snow cranks up across the upper peninsula of Michigan and northern lower Michigan, tacking on a couple more inches. Traditional snow belts in New England get their share too, with upstate New York and northern Maine looking at a general 2 to 4 inch event of wet snow through midday Wednesday. But these initial systems are just the warm-up act, or should I say, cold-up act? The real action develops as we push toward the weekend, when the polar vortex fully establishes itself over eastern Canada. A big dome of high pressure stays anchored over the west, maintaining those warm conditions there while forcing the jet stream to buckle dramatically over the eastern half of the continent. This creates the classic recipe for winter storm development. By Thursday morning, another system brings accumulating snow to portions of New England. Travel could be dicey heading to work or school across the region. A few inches might not sound like much, but it's plenty to cause headaches on untreated roads. So build in extra time to reach your destination. Weekend storm potential. The more significant development arrives as we approach the weekend. Depending on how energy from the subtropical jet links up with the polar jet diving out of Canada, we could be looking at a much more impactful system along the I-95 corridor. All the ingredients are on the table. Arctic air will be locked in place. Moisture will be streaming in from the Gulf and Atlantic. The question is whether these ingredients come together in just the right way for a major winter storm. The European model hints at potential for heavier snow along the Northeast corridor if everything clicks into place properly. The GFS currently shows more of a glancing blow, with the heaviest stuff staying just offshore. This is a low-confidence scenario at the moment, but it's absolutely worth monitoring, because things can materialize pretty quickly as we get deeper into the week. A shift of just 50 miles in the storm track changes everything about who sees significant snow versus who just gets dusted with flurries. It's that sensitive. The cold reality. What's not up for debate is the cold air that follows these systems. By Wednesday morning, sub-zero wind chills arrive in Minnesota and Wisconsin, with northern Minnesota dropping into the teens below zero. Thursday morning expands that bitter cold into more of the Great Lakes and parts of the Ohio Valley, with temperatures near zero or slightly below. Then comes an even stronger surge of Arctic air behind the weekend system. By Sunday and into Monday the 19th, we're looking at wind chills 20 degrees below zero or colder across the eastern Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, and Michigan. This is the kind of serious cold that demands respect and proper preparation. For context, Chicago hosts a major playoff game Sunday evening at Soldier Field against the Los Angeles Rams. Should be quite the spectacle. Temperatures will be in the upper teens, with west-northwest winds of 10 to 20 miles per hour, putting wind chills near zero, or even into the single digits below zero by the second half of the game. Snow showers are possible during the game as well, adding to the atmosphere of a classic January playoff in the frozen north. Bundle up, football fans. Extended outlook. no relief in sight. Looking further ahead into the last week of January, the pattern shows no signs of backing off. The tropospheric polar vortex maintains its position over Hudson Bay and eastern Canada. High-pressure ridging stays parked near western Canada and British Columbia. This configuration means continued warmth for Alaska, while keeping the eastern United States locked in a cold pattern. Arctic air will repeatedly push down into the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast through the final days of the month. And there's a significant winter storm signal developing for that late January window as well. Both the European and American ensemble models show a storm track through the Central Plains, Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and potentially into the Mid-Atlantic and I-95 corridor. Heavy rain would fall on the warm side of these systems, targeting areas along Dixie Alley and parts of the southeast.